They don't have Psystorm, for example, but they do have Genji. Barely hitting HGC here. They're going to have a bigger commitment if they do want to stop this turn and look for a double back-to-back. They are successful.
And Miracle, because they lost a lot of their forts, actually all the forts, right? Yeah, they can't. They have to be forced back out. They are feeling that pressure. They are not even 13 yet. They don't even know where the Junkrat was until the camp was taken on the bot lane. Bad news for Miracle. They will be pushed a lot more when they need that extra wave clear even now.
They have this giant push that's hitting the keep wall, and KSV Black is consistently making it look like they're threatening to grab like a keep wall, for example. Look at what they're doing here. Actually even going to maybe take a fight here, 3v5. 3v4, Tastar staying mid. They're rotating down now. Basically tricking Miracle, drawing them out, then rotating in. Good concussive mine again here onto Gunza. He's the target. Does escape with all that extra armor, the 36. But this big story here is top wave movers continue to push, while this one is well supported by Siege Giants.
Get that lens from the double support, and even Iron Skin used for that pulse bomb is basically wasted right there.
Yeah,
going
this
in
is
a
still
little more.
Such a great trade for KSV Black so far, and they are knocking on this keep's door. More like battering ramming it at this point.
It becomes so hard because Assassin's all the way up. Storm is only available in one lane. They're going in. They can't lose anymore. They can't be losing the keep in 11 minutes.
HA2, the target here, blown up. Ancestral will help save Rich here, who's on his retreat. Slowed here by Tastar, but does get out. Tist will have Iron Skin again in just a moment. So much extra heals coming through from Karzeem. Well, they are all grouped up. There's the Iron Skin, and they are going to be able to get away. They did not kill the keep, but they damaged it significantly. The top push as well gets the wall for free because it's forced a 5-man reaction from formerly KSV Miracle. Or sorry, formerly MVP. Wow, now we're going full circle here. You and I get to cast this series 4 times a year, and this is our second one, but I'm still forgetting, you know, it's no longer sister teams, just the former sister teams.
And no longer MVPs. Both of them, KSV Black and Miracle. It was a 2-level gap. It was like 1.2-ish level gap. Now it's over 2-level gap just because all the walls are destroyed. And this, in fact, actually creates so much black in the map that Miracle can't really contest to go outside of their comfort zone here. They do have, gladly they still have all the keeps, and they do have a lot of their gems. They didn't really give too many kills away, so they're holding a lot of gems. They can turn that in, but it takes a lot of the wave clear. They need to pressure all the lanes first, and they make sure they have some vision, some sight, before they turn this in. Rich is watching all this all the time.
Yep, just going to continue to interrupt just like last time. And because their team is rotating down, he's not risking. And yes, as you say, miss. Look at this Blessed Shield of the Condemn. And Dragon's Blade coming out here now as well. No Twilight Dream for the interrupt. In fact, they didn't even take it. They went for the Tranquility this game, and Malfurion's dead regardless. This is going to be virtually a wipe here. Only Tastar with his Dimensional Shift gets away. Boss is going on top keep into the core. KSV Black just needs to decide how they want to end the game. They're all going to tap, you can imagine, head to finish the game with their next push. Well, they're a little bit indecisive. They decide to take the Nightcap instead. Happy enough with this keep and the control they already have over this game. I feel like uncharacteristic of Black here to play this very safe.
I think they realize that they have so much more of a lead, and they can get closer to 20 very soon. They will also have enough gems soon. Only 21 more. So I think they're taking this one slow. And also in the last team fight, the only thing that really... I will actually highlight how Judy did in that last team fight. He was actually making an escape, saw reset, and then landed the pulse and actually got the trade kill himself. But everything else for Miracle was terrible, but that Tracer play was actually pretty awesome to watch.
Savage Sheik left tonight. Well, they decided to play this the safer way. They set up a push to try to grab bottom keep. And that's exactly what they're looking for here. Gun's is gonna get a multi-stun, but KSV Black doesn't actually get the setup they were looking for in this the Siege Giant push they wanted to grab to help secure this keep. Just simply not going to work out, but the top pressure is mounted, and that's obviously what an early keep advantage is going to do for you when you're KSV Black. You have this advantage, you can utilize it to draw members of Miracle away to deal with those catapults. Sake looking to grab a target here. Here comes the Riptire.
Oh, zoning Riptire. No, never mind, not anymore. But already so much damage onto Tastar, has to shift away. There's a taunt, and the Pulse Bomb will not get a kill onto Sake. That's a lot of damage, basically soaked for Karazim.
Yeah, that was actually a little bit sloppy by KSV Black. They put the Riptire out super early, then they saved it to make sure that the shield had worn away before blowing up on Tracer, but the rest of the team was just not in position to capitalize. Now, Reset has to eat this Ancestral. Concussive Mind's used again for peeling, but this is absolutely a fantastic trade for Miracle. The only problem is that their core is under attack, so they can't keep chasing without getting kills. The longer this goes on for KSV Black, they're going to gain value in that top lane. Now going to prevent these backs. Rich is going in. The core still has shields, but we're getting to a risky place here the longer this goes on.
And they are pushing out, actually, after tapping onto the fountain, they are actually pushing out. Gunda's getting very low. Gets that shield with the taunt. Is it going to connect? That's a trade for now. The Pulse Bomb does hit, but not enough to get another kill. Judy's onto the target. Next one is Reset going down. Miracle is actually turning this one around. Rich still survives, but not for a long time. Kyocha does manage to escape. Can Rich turn this around alone? I don't think so.
Not by himself, not in this case. Not even having the Dragon Blade. Could try to delay turn-ins here, but this is really risky. Does get a successful delay, but I think it's going to be the last one they really can do, just simply because there's too much against him. Obviously, there's too much of a risk to try to grab this. The big stacked up minions up here that they've been prepping for a while, especially with that bottom push with the Siege Giants, still shouldn't be enough to kill this keep. Tastar are going to come down here clear and even shield the keep. Even with this next wave here, should be totally fine. They grab Web Weavers, and this is going to help them catch up to 20. However, they need to be careful about how they push this because KSV Black's going to have 20 first, and they have been super aggressive all game long. They've been looking to punish overextensions from Miracle. So this, I think, best case scenario, this push is going to help knock down supports to catch up to 20 to put the rest of the game even. See, Sonya is capitalizing on, or sorry, not capitalizing, focusing on the top lane to help deal with the catapults while also pushing, grabbing that extra experience.
Yeah, they have so many structures to go through, which means extra experience for Miracle actually. They get all the forts. I think they will not be, they won't be 20. I think they'll be close to 20 if they get even, but they're not really pressuring in. They feel the pressure. Black is 20 now. They have to go rotate to the bottom lane, try to look for that fort.
Yeah, this is basically Miracle just trying to make sure they get the most out of this in terms of experience, but they're not going to overextend pre-20, doing exactly as you said. Look at their rotation back as well, taking the long way back to mid, because they know that if they overextend, it could be the end of them in this game. I believe boss should be up in the next minute or so. Actually, it just came up right when I said it. I knew it was coming up pretty soon, so they have postured towards the top of the map, which is cool for them because it allows them to deal with the catapult, but also threaten boss. After seeing KSV heading towards mid, though, they rotate away from it, grab this Night Camp. There's still not 20 yet. KSV, it looks like they are going to grab this turn-in. I think that's actually only 6, but yeah, Rich will turn in at the same time, so they will get the full job here done. And right now, Miracle's best chance of winning this game is getting a team wipe against Web Weavers. It's going to be tough, G-Club. Maybe impossible.
Maybe impossible, so they have to... Sonya's on the top lane, try to soak in some extra EXP in the meantime, because they are close. They can get to that level 20 with few more waves, but Black's not going to give that chance. The Web Weavers are coming to keep still alive, but this is going to be the last chance for Miracle. They have to get some picks off, or at least soak in for 20 as soon as possible. They're keeping all 5 right here,
yeah,
which means slow EXP gain.
Tist comes in, gets the grab onto Gunza, but it's not the target he really wanted to grab. They want to get, if they can, Judy or Jaehyun. Baiting out the ice block would be the first step. Then they can commit heavily in because they have 2 aggressive supports here that can add a lot of extra damage. They're playing it slow, they're playing it safe because they know that the Web Weavers are eventually all going to be hitting the core. Top one's already there. And now they're going to rotate towards the bottom. It looks like, well, it looked like they were going to, but just getting caught here a little bit. Tist having to back away.
Miracle does not have too much time. The bottom one will be destroyed. There's a 7-sided strike onto Gunza. Will survive.
Good taunt here, but indestructible is going to save Tist for now. looks like just one more heal coming through from Kyocha keeps him alive. Levers have to be dealt with. The core is going down rapidly, but they have enough damage to stop this. But KSV Black could just threaten an all-in on it. 55%. No indestructible for Johanna. I think this is the safer move. Just back away. Look for a better team fight later. You've always got backdoor potential, and you have 2 lanes of catapults now to support that as well.
Hey, not the best game for Miracle, I would say, but it is still one of the better games. And they have been choking a lot, especially towards the end game. If they were the old Miracle, like the beginning of 2018, I think they would have lost the game already. But this already shows me lots of promising plays. Their shot calling, they knew at that timing if they went in, the core was going to survive. But let's see, KSV Black pressuring a little bit more. Not there, not even on 20, only one level apart, but still they hit that 20, still having 1 keep left, and the lanes are not too far apart, so they can keep up with that wave clear.
Now they have Tastar, they have double Side Storm now as well, so there's a lot of ways to deal with the lane pressure, but the problem is the elephant in the room. The core under attack by catapults every few waves. They do end up grabbing onto this core. Forcing rotations like this means KSV Black gets set up on boss. They're not going to start it. In fact, they're even going to look for a safer collapse here. They're not going to try to fight on the boss pit against this composition. But basically, Black has, I think, realized at some point that they can't lose this game if they don't take a fight. Tist is going to eat that pulse bomb here, which means no burst damage now on the side of Miracle. Gunza is going to go down. And this is basically the beginning of the end here now for Miracle. Dragon Blade for Rich here doing a lot of damage. It's unlimited Dragon Blade post 20. Riptire adding a little bit of extra damage. This fight, though, the longer it goes on, those catapults in the bottom lane are going to eventually start taking out the core. Sake survives. But Miracle, they need to win this fight now. They don't have time. And I think this is just simply going to be the end of the game.
Team fight, I wouldn't say it was over, but it was basically decided the moment HGC threw in that Johanna. It's not a DPS, not a support. Why throw in the Johanna? I think it was very rushed. It was a very rushed shot call. They had to open the team fight somehow, so he had to do it. But of course, not the best way you want to look at it.
Yeah, that was one problem. Another problem was that Gunza kind of got into a position where he was going to go down and there was no way out. And from that moment on, like, they couldn't retreat from the team fight and they couldn't win the team fight either. So they tried to win the fight and they actually had a lot of good moments for sure. Especially the focus fire onto Johanna after the pulse bomb went through. Indestructible should have still been on cooldown for a few more seconds, so getting that pick might have turned things. The problem was that, like, even if they won the fight, it would have taken them so long that they would have lost so much health on their core by the catapults and would have lost the game anyways. And if they tried to retreat to stop the catapults, they would have been prevented from doing so. So it was kind of a catch-22 situation there. That's why getting those early keeps is so important. Look at the siege damage. We talk about wave clear. Siege damage for Tastar, nearly 200,000 to even better than Junkrat's at 180. So that's the kind of numbers that Tastar brings to you, and I think that's one of the reasons why they did draft him there at the end. Obviously, he's great with Tracer. We've always seen these Tastar, Malfurion, Tracer comps do really well, but such a huge impact into the game.
Yeah, but notice how much damage Johanna took at the bottom. 102,000. Herself alone. And compare that to Sonya plus Garrosh. And combine that, if you combine them two, it's about 160. But Johanna only died 2 times in that game. And she was focused mostly, Pulse Bomb, also landing on her face oftentimes, but only dying 2 times. Tis really back in the form, really continuing to become the shield of KSV Black once again. And Miracle played a lot better than expected. But KSV Black just taking it slowly. I think they were really passive in game number 1 compared to what we would have expected. But still a very good game from both sides, and KSV Black took game number 1.
Yeah, very scrappy game, shall we say. But I think we learned a lot about what KSV Black is thinking at the moment, especially on this map. We saw a lot of them running, a lot of games of them in Eastern with Junkrat on this map as the sole laner. And double support, I've always really liked it, but looking for aggressive double supports, they locked it in instantly. They were very confident about this draft. But I think what they probably learned was that this is not actually as successful as they planned. This was not the result they were looking for. They wanted to dominate this game in a more clean fashion, and they were outplayed in a lot of ways. And the Tracer composition with Tastar as the final pick made it a lot more difficult to get those kills coming through with the Rhaegar, with the Kharazim, that kind of very aggressive double support line that can do a lot of damage. So don't know if we'll be seeing any more double support from them. I think this was kind of a Tomb of the Spider Queen-esque draft from them. So now the big question for me is, where does Sonya lie? Do they draft Sonya for their solo laner on a bigger map? Do they run the Medivh? Where are we going to stand in the new meta? Because this draft that we saw is completely unrelated to the Sonya Medivh reworks or changes to these supports. They were kind of already messing around with this before today.
Yeah, I think that's going to come very soon. And even Thrall's not out of the question. I think Thrall still can make in lots of maps. That's possible. And Black has been using some. It's something else that we actually think a lot of the times the other green teams like to pick the tanks to support first and then hide their DPS. Like, unless Ballistics gets to take some Hanzo, they would actually hide all their DPS, like picking Taika's always at the last moment. But oftentimes, KSV Black would always focus on what Rich plays at the first or before the second ban phase. That's also something else that you should take in mind. Maybe that will change later on. I think it hurt them during the draft a lot back in Eastern Clash. Maybe they will continue to do that. Of course, they have Noblesse drafting for the team all the time. That can change anytime. But Rich, compared to how highly it was picked all the time, I don't think he was perfect on those picks. If you talk about team, not just about how he plays, his mechanics and individual skills, of course, very good. But I'm talking about the team fight potential.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
his teamwork within the team.
They also gave away the Uther to be banned, and that limits a lot of what Genji can do. They went for double support instead, but still, even double support is not as good as a Divine Shield. So, as it turns out, invulnerability is pretty strong. But I agree with you. They grabbed the Genji early in the draft. They had a plan from start to finish, but with the Tastar pick, it got a little bit tougher. We are going into Battlefield of Eternity for Game 2. This was the map pick of KSV Black, so first ban will go to Miracle. They will instantly ban the Tracer. They're looking for the Genji or the Maiev here. That is the game plan. We'll see which one they get. Another alternative ban for KSV Black here would be the Uther, if they really want to play deep into the meta, or sorry, deep into the draft. But they're not going to give the Maiev, which means Miracle 100% grabs Genji here, you have to imagine. If they don't, I'm a little bit confused about that Tracer ban.
Maybe they have some Hanzo themselves, but if they take Hanzo, it does follow that Tracer ban, because oftentimes if you take Hanzo alone, it's going to be Malfurion onto the other side. But this time it's going to be Genji. Rich's Genji was awesome. After 20, the Dragon Blade never ended until the end of the fight.
Rich also plays a good Hanzo. This is the best Hanzo map in terms of win rate, and also in my opinion, I just think it's the map that suits him the best because you have a lot to work with and in terms of how the map structurally is, because you have the Immortal to kind of block a lot of pathing. You stand behind your team in these choke points where it's very difficult to dive. So we're going to see Rich's Hanzo again, going to be paired with a Malfurion. And we've learned a lot about KSV Black over the last few weeks, but one thing that really stands out to me is they are very willing to give Uther to Genji, and they're very willing to prioritize the Malfurion over the Uther in any composition for them. And they just personally, or as a team collectively, don't feel that Uther is that strong. We've learned that through Eastern, through today's draft so far. Almost any other team, especially Ballistics, would have drafted the Uther there with the Hanzo to deny that from Genji. They feel confident they can deal with it.
The only other reason that I can bring would be that Sake does not really like to play Uther. I think that's like the only other reason that we can think of, because Gyocha did play lots of Uther, but from Sake we barely ever saw Uther play, and Sake used to be a skill shot player and works a lot better with the changed Malfurion in a way, because if you get a lot more skill shots hit, you can heal of your allies a lot more. So it does fit his play style a lot better for Sake. I think that's also a reason why they're picking Malfurion a lot more.
It's a tough ban here, wouldn't you say? Because there's a lot of heroes that do really well. DPSs that compare with Genji, like for example, Greymane would be fantastic here. But also Sonya is a really scary pick with the Tyrael and the Uther. So those are two heroes that really do well given the circumstances of composition. I know I keep talking about the Illidan. I feel like we're going to see it at some point. This, I don't think, is going to be the time, but that's another hero in the past that screams ban me with this draft that we're seeing for Miracle. It's tough to choose one of the heroes that works so well with this composition.
I think it's what they are planning to choose right after. If they're thinking like an ETC, I think Li Ming ban fits the draft right here. Genji Li Ming, pretty good pair. Also poking for that immortal will be strong against Hanzo. Still very good. So let's see what they're thinking. Okay, banning Blaze seems like they are targeting that Blaze every single time.
Yeah, they banned it last game as well. This is a little bit surprising, but you could see, for those paying attention, it was the subtle gesture of HA2's facial expression when it was locked in. It's clear that he's been doing well with it in scrims, and he is the player who'd be playing it for Miracle. So for Black targeting him here, you could feel that frustration and the look on his face. So in some ways, this has definitely already been successful. The other cool thing they do, we were talking about how Sonya is really strong with this comp. They ban the Blaze, take the Sonya, and so this puts Miracle into a little bit of an awkward spot in terms of solo laning. The only other one they could pick that wins the matchup is Maiev. Thrall, if they choose Thrall, will not be for the solo lane. Could be a good composition for Thrall. Could go for his Crash Lightning, go into the 4-man.
They have Tyrael, they have Sanctification, so grabbing Martel is not the worst one. Also, someone has to go for that camp at the same time, along with the wave clear. Fits the map, takes the % damage onto Immortal, of course, a lot less every time he gets that nerf onto his trait.
I would love Greymane Malthael here. Li Ming is also available, as you mentioned. Doesn't pair as well with the Uther Tyrael. Gonna take Anub'arak, and I feel like this is related to Gunza's fairly small hero pool at the moment. Actually, really reminiscent of Gondar, actually, his small hero pool when learning the tank role in the pro scene after making it through Open Division.
Wonder who's going... They may actually have to swap here a little bit with Tyrael and Anub'arak.
Yeah, H82's Tyrael is not bad by any means, but it's not fantastic. But I think he's going to have to play it unless they're going to put Judy back onto it, which opens a whole can of worms. And this is a fantastic pick to mitigate the damage coming out from Greymane to help win the Immortal race. As ranged blind is so fantastic in these situations. Let's keep a close eye on KSV Black throughout the rest of this series too, how much commitment to blinds they are running with Johanna high priority in second rotation last map, and then now the Cassia coming in as the second DPS here.
I think they have lots of counters, and Black is going to look for those pokes from Hanzo. I think that's exactly what they're looking for. They want to poke a lot, then when they get the chance to focus fire with Sonya coming in with the spear, they do have lots of CC chain, big roots coming out from Malfurion, and also Power Slide is always available from ETC. Miracle, they can turn that around with a perfect Sanctification, but oftentimes, and very often right now, a Sanctification does not get to channel. Oftentimes it is cancelled right before, and you don't really get to use it during the team fight unless you get that 10 seconds right after. That will be a big problem that Miracle has to face.
That's absolutely been one of the focal points in Korea versus Tyrael comps, because after Tyrael's level 1 shield rework, or basically the new talent he has level 1 to give 100% shields, Tyrael has been super high picked in Korea, and because there's so many other heroes that are so strong, he ends up making it through draft a lot, so that's clearly been something Korean teams are working on, is interrupting Sank. That's actually a really good point you made. It will be H82 on the Tyrael. I don't want to call him an inexperienced Tyrael player, but he's certainly not one of the Tyrael legends we've had in Korea. He's much more known for more bruiser-oriented solo laners. So let's see how this one pans out. There's going to be Gunja again on that Anub'arak. This is, as you mentioned before, kind of a hero pool problem. So, also interestingly for Rich, it's going to be the Scatter at level 1 and not Redemption. So, of a safer, more camp-oriented pick here rather than looking for pure damage and attack speed.
It's not the worst. And Judy's going for this cheesy strat once again.
I think we're going to have to call this the Relic from now on, because Relic did this first.
Well, Grubby did it a long time ago.
Sure, I just mean in Korea.
But
now.
He's getting caught though, and Tyro's not even close.
He barely got it. Oh my god, that was
That
weird.
drafting was... That drift was almost like initial D right there.
Yeah. I want to play the soundtrack now.
Well, is it really worth his life? Maybe at the later phase, but let's see a little bit more. Here's the contest for the camp, and Gunza's caught. I think he borrow charged in.
Yeah.
I think that's why he's so far back, all the way in there.
I mean, they're down a member, and they're being aggressive. They're going to lose Gunza, but they did get the cap at least. So that's one small victory here. How that ends up working out. Camp's like on the left side actually, because there's so much aggro here. It's like started getting aggro onto the heroes themselves. So 2 big wins for KSV Black and 1 small loss in terms of the healing fountain. But we're looking at Malfurion as the support for KSV Black. So he has Innervate. He has really good sustained healing to keep everybody healed up. So it's not going to be as significant. This is becoming like a really big thing actually. This is now just like the meta, I guess, on this map is to try to kill these healing fountains, but I do have to question the risk, you know?
Ninja's on a mission.
Ninja's on a mission, man.
Ninja's on a mission, and when they're given the mission, they have to complete it. That's what they do, even though they can sacrifice themselves. They do have to complete the mission. He did last time, that's his second one.
I mean, I guess so, like...
I think if you look into a longer game, I think it actually is worth the time and all the effort.
Yeah, I mean, especially if you're going to look for a really long Immortal phase, that's going to be so important. Obviously, the Immortal, if you win it, because you're even on levels and you didn't lose experience from trying this, you're going to kill the Healing Fountain anyways, very much faster, but let's see if it pays off. They're looking for some damage here early in this fight. KSV Black is, that is, and they do end up winning this trade. Camp pushing bottom still kind of a big factor right now as well. KSV Black doesn't have anyone dealing with that at the moment. So that will eventually start to do some extra damage to the wall and further catch up the experience for Miracle. But KSV Black crushes this Immortal phase. The dead healing fountains don't really make any difference in this fight whatsoever. At least not yet.
Liking these plays though, it's actually forcing lots of rotation. This means that they're looking for a longer game, which they're not good at. They used to be really one of the worst teams that in the longer and longer game. But here's the power slide onto the target, deflected. There's the protection onto Genji. He will barely survive.
Well, Miracle's going to be happy they've got their healing fountain still, because they certainly need it after this trade. Everyone's going to go tap it, but Hearthstone's not required here for KSV Black. Just going to grab this mana from these globes, and they are just simply going to go crush top. And sure, KSV Black lost 2 healing fountains to that push, and Judy lost his life once for that. But KSV Black got control of the entire map with the exception of the neutral bottom camp. So they won a fight, just didn't get the camp. And now they should be able to, with this very heavily shielded Immortal, get a healing fountain themselves.
That's the thing, you spend so much time at the early game, but if you lose that Immortal, you can lose more than the healing fountain. You can actually lose half of the lane with just 1 or 2 Immortal coming by. To see how well Miracle can defend this, I think it matters a lot. I think Tyro should actually be up on top if they want to make all that strategy worth a while.
Yeah, they eventually sent him up there, but yeah, it felt like something that has probably worked well in scrims, and Relic obviously has found some great success with it, but looking to collapse onto reset here. He is going to, with his passive, ignore a lot of the auto attack damage though coming through from Sniper. It will survive. Now Miracle finds himself a little bit out of position. Power Slide only going to catch Greymane, but that's enough to kill him. And you know what? Judy actually should not be standing there. I was going to say that might be the end of his life.
Yeah, even with the Immortal, that was a 4v5. And Sonya, meanwhile, has been pushing the bot lane this far. And
yep, he died anyways.
Ooh, I don't exactly know why Genji was there.
Well, looking at based on the body there, I guess he was trying to harass while everyone else went home just to finish off the Immortal, but they nearly got a keep with the first Immortal of the game. And this is not because of the healing well. Let's not like oversimplify this situation, but KSV Black has just had control of this map. They have a draft that's so fantastic against Greymane with how Cassia has been used. Rich is going to get caught here, may actually die, does get blown up. HGC going to Eldruins him for the kill. Sniper has that extra armor coming through from Jaehyun. Here comes the lightning ball and the mosh pit, completely ignored here.
They do hit 10 and they're committing all the resources they have. Remember, Sonya comes into the fight now and they're committing all the damage. More kills will happen very soon. There's another one in Gunza is lost. He has to make a big travel. He has to book some hotels right now.
So let's not even like overstate how much this game is probably over.
Oh man, that's...
Well, he got aggro too, so we'll end up giving the experience there. But the level advantage for KSV Black from 10 to 7 means they have heroics, but they also have 12% on average for these heroes of a scaling advantage as well, plus heroics. So even though Rich died and Miracle thought maybe this is our moment to win a numbers game, they just simply were not winning a numbers game. And when Sonya got over, when Kyocha arrived, it was just going to be a bad time. Rich with a fast respawn timer too. Notice how Rich uses his scatter arrow, by the way. Checks for vision with that one, but looks like Jaehyun's going to die. Before I can even make a point, people are dying.
Nice arrow connected. Maximum range. At the farthest range. Hanzo's not even here, and Sniper will get caught with that scatter arrow. Alone, Hanzo has been doing all that damage.
So Rich uses these rock formations, and I recommend using these as well if you're playing Hanzo on this map. There's 4 basically rock formations around both Immortals, the north and south ones. Just bounce the scatter arrow right off that. You'll hit most of them every time.
Yeah, it's very easy.
Yeah.
Unless you have all the enemies coming right at you. But oftentimes if you're alone, you can do this alone, and actually you can do a lot more damage to compare to Greymane even.
Look at how quickly he's able to do that. Like, it's insane with the scatter arrow build, with the cooldown reduction, by the way, which was nerfed. It used to be even stronger. You can clear that Immortal, and basically Rich was PvEing this entire Immortal phase, so they get a full shield Immortal. Miracle still doesn't have 10. And suddenly that first game we just watched G-Cluff with the double support on Tomb of the Spider Queen, Junkrat, Soul Lane, it all feels experimental, because when we go back to something more normal, something more comfort, this is not a close game, shall we say.
And this is the spot HA2 from the side. And Nubarak is looking for that angle from the back, but Genji, okay, just harsh back home. I think they're looking for the chance before Black gets 13, but it's spotted. Gunza's coming from the side.
Rich doesn't even use Sonic arrows, man. Why would he ever check with a Sonic arrow when he's got a slower, faster cooldown one to check? The Sanctification is good here, and they are going to get the blow-up onto Malfurion. Mosh Pit's available. Tist is going to threaten one to try to stop the chase here, but the bigger issue simply is this Immortal.
Man, Sniper solo H82 barely gets out with that cleanse, and Nubarak gets caught, and Mosh Pit is... He's happy to dance right there. He doesn't even need to catch anyone. The keep is down. They got what they wanted. They are going for that core now.
Yeah. Worst case, they could just head north and finish off the second keep, but I don't think that that is necessary with an Immortal that's still 2/3 health.